there, it's me, Celia. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to do a reading about the Boeing strike. I don't know a lot about this. I mean, I took some notes from something that I watched, but I would just love to see how the energy of a strike comes through in a reading with cards. I don't know. Let's just see. But this is what I have for notes. 33,000 people are in strike. I think it might be one of the biggest strikes ever. So 96% of the union members approved the strike, so they're very much all in. Boeing proposed to increase wages 25% over the next 4 years. The workers rejected that deal. The workers want a 40% raise over the next 3 years, and that's because their current wages are based on 2008, like that's the contract. So the last time they negotiated for what they're going to get paid for was then, and Boeing has resisted up until now to raise their pay. So it seems kind of a lot, a 40% raise, but it's been 16 years since they've had any raise, so they're living on like 16 years ago salary, and so 40% would actually be a 1.3% increase for each of those years that they didn't get a raise. Does that make sense? Also, the deal that Boeing offered of raising, 25% over 4 years, there was no other benefits included in that, like time off, or I don't even know what else they wanted. But, you know, when you strike, sometimes there's other things that are part of the benefits. The strike is costing Boeing $1 billion a week, and their best-selling airplane is directly impacted, as well as a couple other ones. Even the airplanes that are made in South Carolina, which is a non-union state for them, even that is like, at first people are like, oh, well, that plane's not being affected. But it could be, or maybe it is. I've heard conflicting things. Because sometimes, or maybe all the times, I'm not sure, some of the parts or the entire plane has to be approved or in Washington state before it gets released, so it is kind of even affecting that. Yeah, I listened to a number of like interview podcast kind of reports. I wouldn't call them documentaries because they were more like a video essay, but I listened to a couple of those, 2.5 of them on YouTube, and Boeing has struggled for a long time as a business. And I did not take notes on what I learned there. But some people say that like what's happening in Boeing is just a massive example of what's happening in the United States regarding like capitalism and manufacturing and all this stuff where there's like a disconnect between the actual product that you're making and the financial side of it. So Boeing, like many other companies, are being run first and foremost as a financial endeavor. So they have the responsibility to, raise their share prices and like make people money up at the top. And over time, then that means that the workers don't do well, their products don't do well, and eventually that can hurt the company. But overall, it can hurt just everything, really. It can be bad for morale, and it's just a really bad sign. So apparently, Boeing was combined with another company, and that company was doing really bad, another airline company, and something Douglas, maybe? Am I making that up? McKinsey Douglas, whatever it's called. They were forced to merge after the Cold War because it's like Boeing is a government contractor company, but they, after the Cold War, there really wasn't that much of a need for a bunch of war contracts. So they merged forcefully with this other company that was doing really, really bad. And some people say like that is when Boeing started to do bad too, because they took on their mindset. And yeah, it's just been disconnection between the product and the people for a very long time. And then we know that Boeing had whistleblowers that died, which is so messed up. Very convenient. And then there were safety issues on their planes. There was two or at least one crash in Africa, and then the door fell off in the US, and I think there might have even been another situation. So let's take a look. I want to see, there's kind of two different readings. Okay, what should I do? We want to look at the strike. Will the workers get what they want? Like the workers. Okay. Well, the workers, here's the workers. 3 swords. They are upset. And this is Boeing, 8 of Pentacles. They are not taking their handiwork seriously and the energy in between of them. 2 of Cups. I mean, that makes me think they will reach a deal. Okay, that they both like. And how are they going to do that? What's going to happen? The Empress reversed, not being taken care of. 4 of Wands coming together. Oh, okay. For the benefit of everybody. The 3 of Cups, some sort of meddling. They're going to be forced to make this deal. When I pulled this 4 of Wands, I was like, there's another person involved. There's another something. Something's going to happen. I don't know if it's the government or somebody with a lot of power. I'm feeling like it's an entity, possibly the government. Yeah, they're like, you have to do this. Okay, what else do we need to know? Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, get some money coming in. Ooh, Death. I love this card in here. Everything expires. Real salmonella. Another fine food. Carnation. Oh my gosh. This deck is so great for thinking about this because of the military-industrial complex and mid-century vibes happening. 7 of Swords, some sort of betrayal. Okay, let me think about this. Ace of Pentacles. Got some new finances, resources coming in with the death and forced, with the death and a end of betrayal. I wonder if they're going to get some sort of new, somebody new in charge. This 7 of Swords reversed makes me think that there might be an outing. Somebody might get pushed out, and it's right after the Death card. So money comes in, a restructuring financially with this Death card is starting afresh. And somebody's maybe gonna get out, or some sort of involvement or practice that they had is gonna end. Page of Swords, King of Swords, and the Knight of Cups. Here we have a lot of court cards. With these court cards, I do think that there is going to be some sort of radical changing. People are going to be involved with this. Could be people on the board. It could be people in management. It could be the government. But I see like the Page of Swords is like somebody with a lot of ideas, quick thinking, kind of too many ideas almost, but just ready to like, let's try this, what about this, kind of spitballing, throwing ideas at the wall. And then the King of Swords in the middle. This is like somebody that does not take orders from anybody. So somebody's coming in to be in charge a little bit. I don't feel like this is the person that is going to like become the new CEO or anything. I think it's somebody from the outside really telling them what to do. Like this is exactly what needs to be done, and I'm not going to take no for an answer. I mean, it could be Biden, the King of Swords. I mean, I guess maybe that would be more like the Emperor. But he is kind of more of like a boots on the ground person, and being a Scorpio, he talks like indirectly. Because I know during a railroad, or like there was a strike, was it railroad strike? He went there and like made them settle the deal. And he's done some pro-union things. And if it's not him, it could be somebody from that level, like Pete Buttigieg, transportation is just, I wonder if he has anything to do with air transportation, or if he will just assume that role. Somebody like that, perhaps. The Knight of Cups is like somebody that wears their heart on their sleeve and is ready to share how they really think about something and how they really feel about something. So I think this is overall positive for the strike. I want to do some clarification about like the overall industry with my other cards. Okay, I want to do some clarification cards with the Herb Crafters Tarot. I was kind of being drawn to some of the imagery within these cards to see if there will be any shift if Boeing goes ahead with meeting the union deals. And like, I don't know, will things change from being so financially motivated into being, I don't know, product motivated, or I don't know what else this card called. The Emperor reversed, Seven of Waters, and the Moon Datura. The Emperor reversed makes me think of I'm a little torn on this card because the Emperor is like, this is the way we've always done things. Is that like being so overly responsible to the stockholders and the finance part of it? Or is the way that it always has been about like business? I think kind of about business. I think this is what I'm getting, is that it's not business as usual. So they are going to maybe change the way that business is going forward. But with the Emperor, it's going to be small little changes because that's a big table to upturn. The Seven of Waters Birch in this deck, I have always felt like a level of compartmentalization with this card. I'm not sure why, but it's almost like emotions that are too heavy and hard to handle, and so you just put them somewhere else where you don't have to deal with them. It's like kind of a cutting off from what you feel. I mean, it doesn't have to be that way. Like, ideally, you would be able to balance your emotions and your logic and everything else together. For some reason, I just heard finery looking at this crystal pitcher, and the idea that the birch sap back on this tree is flowing, and obviously this cup is inside, but it's being collected by something. So the birch sap can be refined. This silver birch that makes that delicious wintergreen flavor has been a big part of commerce. And that silver birch reminds me, has a metallic quality because it's like, it's so silvery. Where I grew up in the Midwest, we didn't have silver birch. I only saw it when I lived in Vermont for a short period of time. And it's so cool. Like, it literally looks like silver. And that makes me think, with this finery, the refinement of this sap, thinking of, like, for some reason, New England and the East Coast is putting me back to, like, the way things used to be. Like around the turn of the 1900s, maybe like getting back to what aviation was meant to be, which is kind of weird because I think aviation eventually I think war was a big motivator for aviation, but I'm feeling like a metallic energy. There isn't really the ingenuity or innovation that, like, we've taken for granted what an innovation it has been to be able to fly. Like, most of us like hate airlines, and now we're like distrustful of airplanes, and now this huge massive strike is happening, and it's like a reflection of everything happening in our kind of late stage capitalism gone awry, where it's all about money and not about the product or the people that make it or the people that use it. And I hope that this card and like the images I'm getting of like silver, metal, this crystal vase, I'm thinking of like the early 1900s. So it would be cool if we could get back to some sort of new meaning of flight. I think a lot of that was overtaken by turning them into war machines, and then space travel could be just the end of an era. But regardless, I think there is some innovation to be had. Interestingly, in one of the video essays or interviews I heard about Boeing, is that somebody was proposing like the best thing that they could do is launch a new type of airplane, because everybody would be working together for a new goal, and they need to feel like the innovation bug, and it would invigorate everybody and be kind of a solidarity thing, and it would get the public interested. It's kind of hard though, because like, what can we innovate? We have the airplane, like what else are we gonna do? But I kind of feel this returning to the old, like letting some things that doesn't serve you go and getting back to a craftsmanship. It's very preliminary though. It's kind of in this emotional wondering stage, especially with the Hermit, with the Emperor reversed. It's like this isn't happening and isn't embodied yet, but hopefully it will be. And then the Moon, revealing of secrets. Datura. I do think the industry is kind of rotten to the core, and I don't just mean aviation, I just mean like big, like Wall Street and things. So that's an issue. That's why it needs to be changed. But in the center, there should be some sort of hope for something to be able to carry on with something new. Magician, Sunflower, Two of Air, Reverse Chicory, and the 7 of air, eucalyptus reversed. This is exactly the reason why I wanted to do this deck, is because I saw this card in my mind, the 7 of air reversed, and I saw it reversed, eucalyptus. And I was like, I bet there's a message there. So here it is. Magician, there will be some creation, restructuring, innovation. I think that will happen. And then the 2 of air, chicory reversed. And the 7 of air, eucalyptus reversed. In reverse, the 7 of air reminds me of this machinery. It's very mechanical and chemical, and how it's clunking out. This is a copper still, a distillation apparatus, and you know, it's just kind of steampunky and mechanical, and that, I guess maybe I was drawn to that metal nature. It's funny, in Chinese medicine, the metal element is kind of akin to air in a way. So 7 of air there, because, you know, like air is the sword suit, metal makes swords. A little different because there's 5 elements in Chinese medicine, but, or like Chinese theory, I should say. So what does this book say? The Complete Herbalist. Aromatherapy. Okay. Yeah, I think that they're actually going to have a hard time getting back to basics. Maybe they can never really go back. They're going to have to make a decision, though, to innovate or go back. And what are they going to do? They're going to innovate. So this was kind of like what was happening on the, at the company. I was hoping to get maybe something more like industry-wide. I don't know, are things going to change with like workers' rights and whatever? Okay, let's do a quick and dirty Lenormand. Are things going to change regarding the difference between the financial side of business and the product people side of business of capitalism? Like, is the fiduciary responsibility going to be reduced? Are we going to be more responsible to, you know, being innovators and like making quality things, and or is it just all about the money? The sun, the letter, and the key. I kind of think this means that things will need to be put into writing. There will have to be some laws that change, because like the sun is like the guiding principle, and for like the US that could be within law, and like the whole purpose needs to be codified, because of the letter is like a very specific thing that's written, and the key is like meaning it's very important. The child, coffin, and the moon. Oh, this is kind of sad. It's kind of like the death of new things happening. Child is like innocence, purity, new ideas, fun. We're past that time. And now we're coming into our adolescence, having a menses. And then what do we got? The snake. Ooh, snake in the grass. Oh, snap. There are people that are not, institutions that do not want things to change legally, to get codified, to be in law. It will be hard to overcome that. There's a snake in the grass. So with the people with their own best interests in mind, the lily is their desires, and the tower is within institutions. So there will be big lobbying to get rid of anything that could help them. Stability, small gestures, and the fox. I think that there will be some very small gains, like one little win here. Like, I do think that the strike looks good. And I think that Boeing's hands will be pushed to make a deal. They have to. And I think that the Boeing has an obligation to the government. And, you know, the government's kind of a middle man here because they're also have to manage the entire economy for the whole everybody. But yeah, if I had to guess, I would say that the strike will end and the workers will get what they want. There will be a restructuring of Boeing, a lot of people involved to like make things different. They will not be able to say no. There's a desperate need for change within the area of aviation, but also big business in general. There will be laws that will be attempted to change that, you know, to make things less in ruling of the financial banking industry and like Wall Street and making money. But they're going to fight it. And instead there's going to be like small bits of gestures almost of like, here, take a little bit of an increase here in your work and a tiny bit more rights over here. But it's going to be hard earned in the overall changing of the entire system. And I think we all know that. But in any case, I'm glad that the workers, allegedly, we'll have to see what happens. I think that it sounds positive thus far for them. Okay, thanks for listening. Bye.